So you ever seen those productivity videos where everyone starts off with something like this?
In this video, we are talking about how to build a productivity system.
In this video, I'm sharing my top 5 productivity tips.
In this video, I want to talk about what I think is the most under-discussed.
So you ever seen those? Well, I'm here to tell you that all types of productivity videos are kind of bullshit, even though some of them don't necessarily give you bad advice. And if you're questioning why you should listen to a random guy like me, here are my credentials. So for those of you unfamiliar with videos like this, just look up something like how to be more productive on YouTube and you will see a plethora of videos talking about this shit. There are so many videos like this now that there are people critiquing said productivity videos, but if you just look at their channels, they're also productivity YouTubers. And some of these videos have a lot of views, like a lot of views. Some of these videos have more views than the biggest content creators out there. And it's not really a secret as to why that happens. A lot of people struggle with being productive. Being able to get your work done in a consistent manner is a lot harder than people expect it to be. However, there's a few amount of people who found ways to use their time efficiently and implement disciplinary strategies in their life. So they make videos and they try to help people with that. And on paper, this seems fine, right? Like, I want to be productive. Like, I want to be responsible. I want to do all those. It's bullshit, okay? These people are insane, man. Some of these guys study nonstop and I'm just like, what the f? And I see what some of you guys are already typing in the comments. Oh, you're just jealous, bro. You just want to be like them, bro. You want to make money too, bro. No, it's just that for the collective good, I'm trying to give better advice to... Okay, so what if I am jealous, man? You don't know what it's like, man. I'm literally in the bathroom watching an Ali Abdaal video telling me it's my fault that I'm not being productive. And I want to be productive, but I can't because I'm dealing with an internal hemorrhoid, having to stick stuff in places I thought I'd never have to stick things into. And I'm being told it's my fault because my ass is out of commission. But in all seriousness, a lot of these videos either give advice that should be super obvious or set up unrealistic expectations for yourself when you're just starting out. If I went through every example out there, this video would take, forever. So I'm going to try and speed run through this and highlight some of the problems that I think every productivity video has. So there's a guy online named Sebastian Georgiou who claims to be productive 98% of the day, every day. And why listen to this guy, you might ask? Well, he's a very successful digital entrepreneur. He's been on some podcasts, teaches classes on his website, and to top it off, he even sprinkles in some rich boy hot takes. But I'm not going to talk about any of that because I have no context behind his words. I'm just going to talk about this video. So first, he talks about these pillars of health that will potentially benefit your daily productivity level, which sounds amazing, but the problem is these pillars are kind of common sense, don't you think? Take this clip, for example.
So you have sleep, which is the most important. You have food and diet, which is the second most important. And then you have the third, which is like exercising and avoiding substances that slow you down.
Oh, really? So if I sleep better, eat healthier, and exercise daily, it's gonna help me be more productive? So you're telling me my daily sleep schedule of 1 hour a day into a breakfast of 16 popsicles is not a healthy way to live my life? I'll have you know I only broke down 16 times a day instead of 20. That's a pretty good new record for me.
You need to sleep in a proper environment. So going to bed at relatively the same time, give or take a couple hours, is really important. Sleeping in a very dark room is very important. A room that is around 70 degrees temperature is preferable.
Oh, just one off? Yeah, we good. Let me just... Yeah, we're good. It scared me to death. He also talks about regulating your dopamine levels because compared to reading, studying, or doing your work, you're going to get more dopamine from playing video games or scrolling through your social medias. But like I said before, this advice is kind of common sense, right? What the fuck? If you only focus on the task at hand, you're going to get more done, right? I'm actually kind of glad I found this video because it's the perfect example of what's wrong with tips like these. Follow me to the laboratory. I'll show you what I mean. Oh shit, did I not film? So here's my whiteboard. It's my baby. I love it. It was $150, so I'm forced to use it. And it also gives me the chance to tell you what these productivity videos all have in common. A lot of these YouTubers are experts at giving this type of advice, the not advice advice. And the reason why it's called not advice advice is because technically the advice they're giving you is not wrong. Like if I told you to sleep more or make a schedule or go exercise daily, I'm not inherently wrong. It's actually very good advice. But what a lot of these videos don't actually cover is how to accomplish these seemingly minute tasks. If you are completely shit at being productive and you try to implement these strategies that you've never tried before, chances are you're probably not gonna get it the first time. But social media doesn't promote that kind of lifestyle. It promotes this super fast lifestyle where you need to be better than everyone else, you need to know more than everyone else, and you need to get more bitches than everyone else. Like this has probably happened to you, right? Like you're scrolling through Twitter or Instagram and then you see your friends, family, or even celebrities living their best lives. They post about getting a new house, getting a promotion, getting a new family, having a kid, and then you're left there just like, what the fuck did I do wrong? And then you kind of start doubting yourself, right? Like you start asking questions like, what's wrong with me? Why am I being left behind? Am I just dumb? Do I need to commit seppuku? Where's the nearest mental hospital? And the reality is some people will just get things faster than other people. That doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it, but it might take you longer to get to your destination compared to someone else. All right, let's go back to camera one. Now with every argumentative discussion, we need to see the other side of the coin, right? Because like I said earlier, there's a lot of videos out there that critique productivity YouTubers. But do these anti-productivity videos actually cover what's really important? So let's play devil's advocate here for a second. Let's get a video that reviews productivity in a negative manner. So I'm scrolling through YouTube and I find this very interesting video claiming that productivity is a cult. I don't know about you, but I think productivity is pretty cool. So obviously this is a very strong title, right? And with strong titles comes strong opinions. So obviously I should expect something very outspoken, right?
This is not healthy. I've been crying almost every single day now.
If all I do is to cry today,
I
then I
like this
can't
job
get
and it's making me so stressed. But it's like making me so
So, even though I'm kind of making fun of it, I must admit, I've had those fair share of days. There's definitely been those days where I wanted to stick my head up my own asshole and vacuum up all the copium until I pass out. But anyway, she makes this video about how there's a fine line between a healthy, productive lifestyle and a toxic one, and how people are kind of using productivity as a way to gloat. She even states at the beginning of the video she was part of this super productive group.
I crammed a major and minor at UCLA in 3 years while maintaining a GPA for summa cum laude.
I'm sorry. What?
Major and minor at UCLA in
3 years.
So she's working her ass off, grinding hard, staying in the fast lane, and then lo and behold, she's burnt out. So while she's talking about this widespread mindset of extreme productivity, she's talking about how important it is to take a break, take some time for yourself, which is perfectly concrete advice, right? Give your noggin time to rest. She says it far better than me in her video, so I'm just going to play the clip.
Reminder number 1, vacation time increases mindfulness. Had I not taken breaks, I would not have been able to reflect upon how my North Star points in the creative direction when I was going full speed to a non-creative corporate ladder.
And this video is perfectly fine, right? Right? I mean, it's a very solid video with very good advice. What's there to complain about, right? And I will tell you just that. All right, back to the lab again. See, when I was watching these toxic productivity videos, I couldn't really relate to them that well. Because a lot of these toxic productivity videos assume that you are here and you need to dial it down a little bit. But a lot of people struggle to get to even half the point that she was at. Because keep in mind, she did all of that with a subject that she wasn't really passionate about. Like, are you kidding me, bro? I love making videos and I struggle to make this one. So when your piece of advice is that it's okay to take vacations, it's okay to take time for yourselves to help rejuvenate, yes, that's good advice, but you're already in a pretty good productive spot here. So if something goes wrong or something doesn't go your way, you have a pretty solid foundation right here, whereas you're missing part of the audience that is at this level. And this could potentially lead into bigger problems. So we have 3 different types of people, right? We have the people who make the productivity videos, we have the people who make the toxic productivity videos, and we have the general audience. The productivity videos want to help people become productive. It's in the name, right? So let's just say the productivity videos obtain this audience, right? But the toxic productivity videos won't reach the same audience as the productivity videos. This group is literally against this group. How are they going to hit the same audience? So what happens is this group of people will only get this amount of the audience. So both of these videos are trying to help the general audience, but they're hitting different parts of the audience. It's like a productivity civil war. You have your Captain America, you have your Iron Man, and they're both technically right, and they're both trying to help people, but what ends up happening is that there's no definite advice for the audience itself. Now, I know what most of you are probably thinking. Oh, bro, you're kind of shitting on these videos hard, man. It's only fair if you give your piece of advice so we can shit on it later too. And to that I say, let the shitting on begin. So I made this how to be productive chart to try and clarify the point that I'm going to make later in the video. But first, let's label the extremities. So first, we have the people who are insane in the membrane. Secondly, we have the people who are clinically depressed. And finally, we have the people like me who are mentally challenged. So using this chart, we're trying to find the advice that can help the most amount of people. So let's treat this like a math equation. Let's kind of walk through the steps together. So obviously, we want to be in this kind of realm where we're pretty productive, right? We want to be secure in our monetary earnings, so we want to be productive. But we don't want to be too productive where we end up just sad and alone and miserable. And like how this person said, we want to try and take time for ourselves, right? Take breaks. Taking breaks are always good. But we don't want to take so many breaks where we end up like this guy over here and end up not doing anything. So realistically, you're trying to find this little middle ground right here, this kind of sweet spot, the G spot of productivity, if you will. Because like the G spot, productivity is kind of like this unknown thing, right? Because if you're really inexperienced and if you don't know what you're doing, finding the right strategy might be very hard for you. So what you really want to do is really just dive in there, try a lot of different things and find out which strategy works the best for you. And once you find a strategy that makes you want to come back for more, you know what to do the next time you want to be productive. You know where to look, you know where to seek, you know where to touch. It really is such a it really is a great strategy to make you figure out what's more productive. But is that really all there is to it? Is there not better advice I can give to you guys? Because you probably don't want to hear advice like, yeah, dude, just figure that shit out by yourself, dude. But the problem with productivity advice is that there's just so much, you can't really narrow it down. So I believe there's a flaw in giving productivity advice because it's just too much, right? It's just too much. So let's just do a hard reset. Because like I said, there's a flaw in productivity advice. Because what really makes you productive isn't all these strategies, it's really your mindset. For those of you who are like myself, if we had a better mindset, it would be a lot easier to get our daily tasks done. Because if you hate what you're doing, and if you have a poor state of mind, how can you possibly expect to be more productive? Take a video game, for example. If you really like the game, and all of a sudden you run into a difficult level or a difficult boss, even those difficult times can be enjoyable. You can even take Mr. Beast for an example. If I told Mr. Beast to forget YouTube and be more productive in accounting, it wouldn't make sense, right? He might be decent at accounting, but he probably won't be productive in that field because he just doesn't enjoy it. So, let's change our perspective. I truly feel like finding ways to be happier is so much more efficient than finding ways to be more productive. Because if you're a happier person, you'll naturally find more ways to be productive. And I believe there are 3 main things that anyone can do to make themselves a happier person. So let's start with number 1. Make time for friends and family. Now, I know what some of y'all are thinking. Oh, dude, isn't this kind of like a no-brainer? Isn't this what you complained about literally 5 minutes ago? But surprisingly, there's a lot of people in the online space who feel like they can't really talk on a deep level towards their friends and family. Like they have people they can be friendly with at work or at school, and they definitely have family that they care about, but there's still this subtle level of disconnect between friends and families. And unfortunately, everyone's scenario is different, right? Some people are closer to their families, others are not. Some people are closer to their friends, others are not. And I get what some of you guys are thinking. Oh, but I'm really bad at meeting new people. You know, I get really nervous. I really don't know what to say, and I don't have a lot of common ground with anyone. But luckily for you, this leads to our second point. Find a hobby or a topic you like. Whether it's a job or a hobby, find something you could potentially be passionate about. And if your passions lie in educational fields like art, engineering, business, then power to you. That is great. Keep doing that. But I'm not talking to you people, okay? I'm talking about the people who are like me, who hate every job they've done. We sit on our ass and we suck on wieners. And I would love to be the one that tells you that this is a very easy step to accomplish, but in reality, you just have to go out there and try everything. Because you won't really know what the result will be if you don't try anything new. Or you might have this eureka moment where you try something you never thought you would like and all of a sudden you like it. And like I said before, if you struggle with friends, if you get a hobby, you'll find common ground with other people, leading you to potentially make more friends. 2 birds with 1 stone. I have not seen a better deal than this since my sweatshop days. So just try everything, right? Don't be like me, who went to college and was so distracted with statistics like this that they failed to realize that their passions were for something else. Now at this point, I'm starting to think I'm losing some of y'all. But Mr. Asian man, it's not that I don't know these things are good for me, but it's just that every time I try something new, it never goes the way I want it to go. And that is a perfectly reasonable concern, because it never feels good when you try something and it just goes completely to shit. So let me introduce you to the final and probably hardest piece of advice to follow. I think you guys need to understand that life is full of shit. But just because life is full of shit doesn't mean you can't learn from that shit. Because if you learn from your past experiences and mistakes, you can grow to be a happier and better person. Hence, embrace the shit. And obviously this is easier said than done. You can't expect to make one mistake and magically become a different person. For some people, it might take days. Some people, it might take months. Some people, it might take years to fully embrace the shit. But let's say you have a really hard time embracing the shit. And if you are one of those people having difficulties embracing the shit, I have 2 pieces of advice for you that can help with all of that. And can you guess what I'm going to say next? Can you guess what those 2 pieces of advice are? It's these 2 things. You can use the first 2 pieces of advice to kind of reset your brain to help you conquer the final step. You can bitch about it to your friends. You can get lost in your hobbies, all to get ready for embracing the shit in the future. You see, all this advice is intimately connected with one another. It's really like a polygamous relationship. So for all you visual learners out there, instead of just labeling it 1, 2, and 3, I'm going to exchange these tips for wives. So let us go to the first wife. So you go to the bar, you say where are them bitches at, and then you meet wife number 1. You guys talk a lot, you guys get to know each other, and then eventually you guys decide to be friends. And then throughout your time of being friends, you start to realize more things about her. You know, she's caring, she's understanding, she doesn't judge you for your bad sides. And then there comes a time where you feel like you can open up to this person. You tell her about your struggles in life, your future plans, and she responds truthfully from the bottom of her heart. And that makes you happy. You found a very deep and strong bond with another person, and that makes you want to move forward in life. And then one day your wife introduces you to her friend, the second wife. And at first you're a bit confused because you can tell she's a nice person, but she's a bit rough around the edges. She's very harsh with her words, and she comes off very, very strong. But after some time, surprisingly, you guys find something you both like. All of a sudden, everything changes. You guys start talking to each other. You guys start going to places with each other. You guys are even going on dates with the other wife. And even though you might not completely open your heart to her, she's still a good source of happiness, and it fills you with determination. And then finally, there comes the time where you have to interact with the wife that you like the least. It is just complete garbage dealing with her. You know, she's a bit of a crybaby. She doesn't clean after herself. She doesn't really have a lot of confidence, but you still want to do everything in your power to make her happy because she's your wife, man. You don't want to just abandon her. And also because you know if you're able to overcome this obstacle, you will see the light at the end of the tunnel. And even if that fails, you have a clear solution. See, if you're unsuccessful with helping your third wife with her shortcomings and you're kind of losing hope, you could just rebound to these wives. And once you get your motivation back and once you feel happy and you're willing to go at it again, you could just go back to her. It is the perfect scenario for everyone. But in all seriousness, the reason why I wanted to make this video in the first place is because I wanted to share some of the things that I struggle with the most. You know, I had a hard time making friends. I had a hard time making those close connections. I didn't really find anything I enjoyed until very recently. And when things went wrong, I really tucked myself into my own shell and pretend like everything was okay. And on a super competitive platform like YouTube, where a lot of people seemingly know what they want to do and are super passionate, I feel like there should be more voices that tell you it's okay to not feel that way. It's okay to slow down a little bit. It's okay to put your foot on the brake and ask yourself what makes you happy instead of what makes you super productive or super successful. I've been blabbering way too long, so I'm going to end this video with I hope you guys enjoyed it. And if you guys agree and disagree, write something down in the comments. I'd love to discuss this with you. And maybe subscribe because I have some other things I would love to talk about with you. Anyway, that's it for now. Peace out, y'all.